What is up, everybody? Steve Metrics here in Db8 Sports with you, boy.
DJ Triggs.
Yeah, and today is February 20th, a Tuesday, 7:30. We are back at our normal time, 7:30. This is what we're doing for a while going forward. So we got our stuff, we got our show, we got Triggs here at the start of the show, out of the I think he's in a basement, but he's out of the Blair Witch Project. So good to have you back, pal.
Yeah, I'm in a living room now.
Nice.
Ring
That's an
light,
upgrade, man.
things looking fancy and lit up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking lit up, looking lit, looking good. That's how you do it, man. That's no debate.
I don't think you can say lit. I think we're out of that age range where we can say lit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still saying it. I don't care.
We're lit AF.
Exactly.
Is that what we're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I don't think I say that the second part, but yeah, I'll go with the first part as long as I want.
Well, hey, that's okay.
That's no debate.
Yeah.
So good stuff, man. But hey, pretty cool weekend. Definitely had some cool NBA All-Star Game stuff right after the week of the Super Bowl. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know. The game wasn't as interesting as like I would think it would be, but I thought the skills stuff was pretty cool outside of like the actual skills drill thing of the All-Star Game. I thought that was kind of hokey compared to the one I saw in the NHL. That one was lit. Like that one was really cool. But the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, I thought were really good.
You know what? So the skills challenge they've been doing, I don't know, for a handful of years now. I kind of lost a little bit of respect for one person's intelligence.
Uh-oh.
Paolo Banchero.
Yeah.
One player, I want to say it was Maxi, because they had a team of all-stars.
Yeah, like first-round picks.
And first-round picks.
Yeah.
And, no, maybe it wasn't. Yeah, maybe Paolo was a part of...
first-round picks.
Yeah.
Or first overall picks.
Who was the guy that messed up? Someone messed up and went the wrong way. And, they had to reset them and whatever. Literally, Paolo was the next guy and made the exact same mistake.
Aww.
And that really, and Reggie Miller and Kenny Smith kind of were like, dude, how do you make the same mistake? Like,
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I've seen some weird stuff over time, and gosh, I mean, I know it's a little early to be talking about the NFL draft, but like, man, I saw that JJ McCarthy make like some weird decisions in either a game against Ohio State or Penn State, and I lost a lot of respect for seeing a guy who's that smart make a weird in-event decision. So I totally know where you're coming from, but to me, like the level of difficulty of that compared to what I saw for the NHL All-Star Game skills drill was like totally different. Night and day, man. Like the NHL skills drill was awesome. Like I could watch that again and again and again, and I don't even watch hockey like at all. But the NBA one was like dribble around 3 cones and take a shot over a windmill.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. And I mean, like it was kind of cool to see. But the thing that bothers me, and this year was, I mean, they're talking about it everywhere now, but like the skills challenge wasn't competitive at all. Like no one went full speed. I remember a couple of years ago, like Cat won the skills competition because he literally like floored it. He was going fast.
Yeah.
And 2 guys went to the finals, and then they were like full speed going. And it was kind of cool to see, like, oh man, these guys are really fast, like,
right.
And in that scenario, like, dudes were just like not caring. I give Ant some credit, but at one point he was shooting left-handed, and then he did it in the All-Star game, and I'm like,
yeah,
man, you're supposed to be my competitive guy, like,
yeah,
come on.
I think it would be cool if they made that skills thing more intense, kind of like the NHL did, but do it in a way where it's not like too much risk of injury kind of thing. Make it so it's like you have to dribble around, like dribble through weird things, or do something like weird, like dribbling the ball through like really odd positions. I think stuff like that would be kind of cool. And then do something with like passing in a way, kind of like how they took the final shot, the slap shot in the NHL skills competition. How they basically would be able to take the shot from almost like mid ice, but if they wanted to, they could bring it up closer and then shoot it through the goal. I think something like that would be kind of cool for the NBA one, where they pretty much just started at the beginning with it and basically had to throw it through a giant ring that's like 20 feet away.
See, and I mean it's a lot harder than it looked on TV because they made it look really easy. But
Yeah,
like my problem is like guys trying because if you made
right,
something harder, guy like unlike every other sport, even the NFL, NHL, MLB, like guys in the NBA are afraid to look stupid.
right.
And that's why you don't have guys in the NBA dunk contest. Like all props to Jalen Brown, by the way.
Yeah,
But like guys don't shoot in the 3-point contest because they don't want to look dumb. Guys don't do the dunk contest because they don't want to lose. Guys don't try hard in the All Star game because they don't want to be embarrassed and beat by like their peers. And it's just like, dude, it's not that big a deal. Like,
yeah.
do you remember when the skills challenge? They used to bring out some of the old school players, and they would have like a team, like where it was, a new school guy, a WNBA guy, and an old school guy.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
All right, but like it, and I know they've been talking about it on all the big shows and stuff like that, but like I don't know what they can do to change the mentality of players. Like I heard in the All Star game, Julius Irving, Andre Iguodala, and I feel bad because I'm missing the other person, but three like guys, like top dogs, like Iguodala's a Finals MVP.
Yes,
Dr. J's the man.
yes.
And the other guy, it was an older player, but it's like they went in. Oh, it was Larry Bird. They
Oh,
went into the locker rooms and were like, "Hey guys, it's really important to be competitive in this All Star game." Blah blah
right.
blah. And none of what they said mattered
Yeah,
because they clearly just went out there and was like, "Let's score 300 points if we can." Like,
yeah. Yep.
so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely no defense whatsoever. It was just guys practicing like crazy shot stuff, and yeah, the game is very much meaningless on the NBA side. It is clearly the worst All Star game after the NFL. The
Yeah,
NFL is clearly the worst.
but at
Then
least
it's NBA.
the NFL was like, hey, we know this is horrible. Let's play flag football or like and make it fun and goofy. And they go out there and play dodgeball and like stuff like that. And you can tell they're having genuine fun.
Sure.
The NBA guys, it looks like they're there for a chore. The
Yeah, they
the
are. They are.
only two people that had any fun was Sabrina and Steph. Like
Yes.
they look like they were having fun.
Yeah, and I think that's a way to do it. Do something like that. Even if there was like some cooler like integration between like NBA, WNBA, and a few celebrities, and not guys like Micah Parsons dunking.
Dude,
Like I think that is terrifying to anyone that's a Dallas Cowboys fan, anyone that's just a fan of football in general. We don't want to see that because we know that at some point one of these guys is just going to rip their knees apart and it's going to be awful. Like
well,
already going through Teddy Bridgewater, Aaron Rodgers, and Kirk Cousins over the last uh, half decade or so is rough. We don't want to see it in an All Star game ever.
well, I mean those NFL players, believe it or not, actually do play football in the off season a lot. Um,
Yeah,
Like CJ Stroud is a hooper. Like he
Sure.
can go.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I saw a little bit of him in this.
McCole Hardman looked like he couldn't play basketball very much.
Yeah, it's
But
okay.
he probably could. But my problem with the celebrity game, it used to be fun. Like Kevin Hart
Yeah.
and Nick Cannon used to go out there and
Oh,
make
that's
a
fun.
mockery of everything. And it was
Nice.
like Kevin Hart would be in the stands like eating popcorn and throwing water at people and like they
Yes.
would joke around. This game seemed competitive. Don't get me wrong, it was competitive, but like they were bringing in like um I don't even want to call them celebrities, but guys that are on like Instagram and YouTube
Yeah.
doing basketball like shots and you know playing in these like rec leagues and like
Right.
being famous and stuff. So like um Tristan Jazz, I don't know if you know him, but he's known for trick shots on Instagram. And he became big and yeah, he's a Instagram like famous celebrity, whatever. But he plays basketball all the time. All the time.
Sure.
Oh, I think I might have a cameo by one of my children. Oh, he ran away. Sorry.
Oh.
Um, and so like they literally had this thing where like he had a headbutting contest kind of with um a WNBA player, and she literally goes, "Dude, pass the ball," and they caught it on camera, and it became this thing.
Oh.
And he like goes on his Instagram later and is like, "Oh, I was passing the ball. I had more assists than she has in her averaged in her whole career." And I'm like,
Oof.
"Wow, what
That
a
looks bad.
dirtbag!" Like again, lost a lot of respect for that kid. I'm
Yeah.
like, first off, that's a WNBA player. No matter what you think about the WNBA, they're professional athletes.
That's a pro
Like
athlete.
being a jerk to like her in the front row was like, come on, dude. You play basketball all the time. Half of these celebrities didn't even look like they've ever picked. Jennifer Hudson, she didn't pick up a basketball ever, like
Yeah.
so to go out there and like put up 20, 30 points and be like, "Oh, I'm the man." Like, come on, dude. Come on.
No. I think that's where like it'd be cooler if the All-Star game did something like with the WNBA, like actually have them in the All-Star game to some aspect of doing it, but I don't know. The NBA All-Star game is not I thought they did really well with that Kobe Bryant format where it was like first to 24 kind of thing. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um
But guys weren't trying.
what
Like,
whatever it is, they're still not trying, and it just looks weird. It looks really bad.
yeah.
It's I think that the Saturday events are way better than than the Sunday events.
The only event the entire week, like as a big basketball fan, the only event that actually seemed good was the 3-point shootout. Like,
Yeah, but the dunk contest was cool too. I mean,
no,
it's not what it was, but I
no,
still like the ambiance.
no, it was complete garbage. Like they changed the scoring format. Like
Oh,
it was like now everybody's got a one like 1 through 50. Instead, it was a 1 through 10 for each guy, and then it would add up to
right.
50. So you're getting like 49.2 and like,
Oh yeah. Let's not get Olympic scores. Let's
yeah,
just it should be 1 through 10, like you said,
yeah.
for sure.
And
100% right.
and most of the guys that were giving points, like one, there was a dunk done by Obi Toppin's brother. I think his name's Jacob.
Oh man, Obi
He
should have been it.
like his brother had no reason to be it. Like no one knew who he was.
Yeah, it should have been Obi. Like, don't put Obi's younger brother in it. And
Yeah,
I wasn't even that fan. I was not a fan of Obi's younger brother, even at Kentucky. I didn't think he
yeah.
was that good.
And
Obi's the guy, and Obi should have been the one in this because he also plays for the Indiana Pacers.
boom. And then
That's no debate.
right. And the thing that like blows my mind, and that's why I said I give all credit to Jaylen Brown, like, yeah, he went out there and did some pretty basic in-game dunks, but it was like, dude, 2 years in a row, you've lost to a G League dunker.
Oh yeah. Hey, the minor league dunker, like he is what it is, man. Like he's doing his stuff. I mean, I don't like seeing him dunk over two stacked grown men. I think that's weird. And even dunking over Shaq is
Right.
weird. And I don't think it makes sense. I even think it's not, honestly, I don't even think it's respectful, to be honest. I think it's better to just see the talent and what you can do. I mean, I didn't think he was that great, but that guy that plays for the Miami Heat from UCLA,
Jaime
like,
Jaquez.
yeah, like he was trying some stuff. Like he was just trying what he could, and I thought it was pretty cool. Just like straight up, whatever you can do from the street. And I mean, I've seen guys try to like do some weird bounces off the backboards in the past. I didn't see any of that
None.
outside of what Jaime Jaquez was trying. So that's the one guy I gave a lot of credit to. But Jaylen Brown was doing some cool stuff, but I thought the Orlando Magic minor league basketball player was doing some weird stuff of stacking over people that just doesn't look good.
Like, Mac McClung, like, to be honest, he deserves to be in the NBA. He's actually a pretty good player in the G League.
Sure.
I think he won a championship last year.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just so, I mean, I guess for lack of a better word, disrespectful. Like, and I know Stephen A. Smith, I'll use him for his credit. He said LeBron ruined the dunk contest, and I kind of agree because back in the day, every superstar you could think of was in the dunk contest. Kobe, Jordan, Dominique. Like,
right.
There's a ton of guys. Oh, we are going to get a cameo. For some reason, he came down the stairs. I don't know what's going on here. Hi, Jimmy.
There you go.
But except he wants to steal my light. So now I'm a little confused.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, literally, I'm being attacked by children.
That happens.
So, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, that's definitely some stuff going on with the NBA All-Star Game. The cool thing too about the NBA All-Star Game is it's kind of a precursor and almost a prelude to how some of these players are going to join forces and become a power trio or duo on another team. I mean, we've obviously saw this in the past with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Now it looks like there's some other stuff that's starting to develop in other teams as well. So I think the big news that definitely broke today was a little bit of Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. So could this Serbian squad pair up in Denver? So let me see what I got here. Are you here, Triggs? You good to go?
I think so. I think I should be good.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was saying was looking at some of these possible power duos that have been rumored from this NBA All-Star Game. And the big one that came to mind was Nikola Jokic with Luka Doncic possibly teaming up in Denver. And I think that's a real possibility. And I think that would actually be great for the league. And I think it would be really cool to see for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they could get it done, contract-wise and movement-wise, but
it's going to cost.
Yeah,
it would cost. But if I'm Denver, I do everything to make it possible. Everything.
Dallas has actually put together a pretty good team since the deadline.
Yeah,
they went out and picked up PJ Washington from Charlotte.
Okay,
and they moved Grant Williams. So, like, it could be pretty studly over there.
Yeah, I think that's it's a possibility. I think Dallas is making a legit push. This is the year that, I mean, they're going to show is, do they have what it takes to keep Luka Doncic in Dallas? If they don't, he's gone. And I mean, if you're Luka, like, it's not even about the money at this point. Now it's about winning a championship and getting out of Dallas if they don't get it done.
Yeah, I honestly don't think they have a shot at that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. I still think Luka is a guy that gets a little hot headed and wants things his way. And if the Mavericks are showing that they can't put a championship team together, he wants out. I think another guy who's kind of similar to this, but I've seen something on the post about, like, oh, he wants to play in the city for the foreseeable future, but I don't believe it. And to me, he's almost identical to Luka Doncic in some ways is Trae Young in Atlanta. I just think it's never going to happen in Atlanta.
Oh, Trae Young's horrible.
And I have thought that since Oklahoma as well.
Trae Young's, like, he's not good to me at all.
Yeah, I thought he left Oklahoma way too soon. I think he needed at least another 2 years to truly develop and really become a superstar player, which I think he was on pace to doing had he stayed in Oklahoma.
Wait,
but back then there was no NIL. And
oh, you mean in college? Oh, okay.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Oklahoma was easily one of the top 5 schools across all sports in the nation. Oklahoma really had good things going for it. Lincoln Riley was there for football at the time. I think Trae Young would have just been an absolute superstar had he stayed there. I mean, Kevin Durant was another one who I thought left college a little too early, but Trae Young definitely left early. I mean, he even lost his very first game against Rhode Island. Like, yikes. So it just, he kind of came close with what's his name, Nick Collins, when they were there, and Kevin Herter when they were together in Atlanta. That was a good team. I give them credit for that, and I was kind of shocked to see them slip the way they did. But since they basically dismembered that whole kind of championship run team for the Eastern Conference, I just think it's not happening. And I'm with you. I just don't think Trae Young is that great of an all-around player anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's always just been a scorer, but he's been a scorer to, like, high volume shots, and you need to be efficient to be a really good player. The guy can put up 30 points, but yeah, he's gonna shoot a ton of threes. He's gonna miss a bunch of shots, and yeah, he's gonna get a lot of assists, but that's just because teams kind of just double team him sometimes.
Yep.
And hope that those double teams just hurt him.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to, like, replicate what Steph Curry did, but I think he's nowhere near the ability and the talent that Steph Curry had when he came into the league and was putting things together. And you could feel that really good low post game from Steph Curry. And Trae Young is okay at it, but Steph Curry really attacked you from multiple angles. And Trae Young, to me, is in part somewhat of a one-trick pony. So that's kind of what I see.
I actually hit the mute button. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think even back, like, just thinking back to, like, Trae Young, right? When they made the Western or the Eastern Conference Finals, they were not. That team got through really lucky.
They did.
I don't know. Just not a very good team.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they had that star power to, like, really replicate that again. And you had other guys who wanted to be in better roles on other teams, and they left. Right.
And some of the teams that they put on, or, like, some of the players they put on that team, like, I mean, DeJounte Murray's out there. Jalen Johnson's out there. like they have uh pretty good pieces. I don't understand why they don't win.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of is what it is. But so yeah, that's kind of what we saw from over the weekend with the NBA, and pretty good stuff. Looking to definitely talk more NBA, more March Madness. We got WNBA. It's definitely kind of like we're kind of getting that revival of basketball at this time of year. So I like seeing that. It's really cool. I think this is, especially in basketball, one of the more exciting times of the year when we get from out of February into March, into April, into playoff NBA basketball. It's pretty cool. So I definitely like this time of year. But the other sport that we really talk about, the NFL, today was the very first day that began teams having the ability to franchise tag players. And I don't believe anyone has officially been franchise tagged yet, but there are several big time players that teams are, in my eyes, I think the majority of teams are going to pass on the big name players that are probably out there and moving around.
You know what? I actually have a couple lists for you. So
Okay.
I found a list of 10 quarterbacks who are free agents or upcoming free agents. So
Okay. Sure.
you have Kirk Cousins,
Yep. He's right
Baker
up in the top
Mayfield,
three.
Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Ryan Tannehill, Mason Rudolph, Sam Darnold, and Josh Dobbs.
Boy, I think honestly, I like 7 out of those 10.
Really?
Yes. The ones I don't like are Jameis Winston, Mason Rudolph, and who was around the Sam Darnold area?
Josh Dobbs and Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, yeah, Tannehill. He's done. Yeah. Those three are the guys that I really don't like. But the other 7, I think, are all really serviceable. And I'm really shocked that Minshew would be let go from Indianapolis. Oh man, I mean, what do you think? Do you think Indianapolis would pass on him and bring in Josh Dobbs?
Nah, no. Like,
Then who do they compliment Anthony Richardson with from that?
I think Minshew stays.
That's what I thought too.
I thought you said pass on him and bring in Dobbs. Oh,
Yeah, that's the only other thing I could think of. Either that or Sam Darnold.
yeah. Minshew literally, I mean, he almost made him a playoff team.
He did. He absolutely did.
Like, in this list, I mean, Cousins, I'm pretty sure is going back to Minnesota.
I do not.
Really?
Yes.
Where are you guys going?
So I have heard some very interesting things today. And the team that I think is actually going to make the case for Kirk Cousins is Atlanta. I believe Atlanta is where he is going to end up. I forgot what it is exactly. I mean, they definitely need a quarterback. I forgot what the issue is that is holding him up. I think it is that he can demand, well, he will become a free agent. So it would be his choice to stay with Minnesota, if I'm correct. And if that's the case, I think he leaves and definitely goes to Atlanta. If he has the ability to pick any city to go to, I think he goes to Atlanta.
See, I've heard nothing but like good things about him in Minnesota, where like
Agreed.
he enjoys his family being out there and
Yep.
doesn't want to move. So I just assume Minnesota is his place to stay.
I don't think he'll move though. I think he'll stay in Minnesota. I think if that's the case, whatever, he's going to keep the family in Minnesota. Again, you could really do it cheap and buy some little house or condo that's kind of nice just to play in for in the season. But other than that, when you got bye weeks or whatnot, I mean, he can live in Minnesota his whole life if he wants to.
Yeah. And then I also think Baker is going to stay in Tampa.
That is interesting because I am actually thinking, so I've heard a few different things. I've heard that they are not going to franchise tag him. I've heard that they are going to use that on their safety. And I have also heard from Tampa Bay, then that means Mike Evans is gone.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, and I'm Baker Mayfield, now I start to leverage, okay, I have seriously two options. I can either one, stay here and I can be hand in hand and I can get a multiple year deal, or you flat out bet on your. I mean, this is where his life, him knowing his own life, which I know that sounds weird, but really that's what it comes down to is what does he know more about what he's seen in person than everyone else? And does he believe that his team without Mike Evans is going to still be a serious contender in the South? Or does he go to Carolina? And also, this brings up the Kirk Cousins issue. If I'm Kirk Cousins, honestly, two of the three best teams in the entire conference are in my division, and that's Green Bay and Detroit. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
So, two of the three best teams in your conference are in your division. If you cannot get past at least one of them, you're not in the playoffs. So you're more than likely not in the playoffs. So I think you take your talents, you go to Atlanta where that offense is just built. It's ready. It's ready to go. They got better pieces than Minnesota does. They got healthier pieces. And I think you just take that and you roll with it. You roll the dice, you see what happens, and you make something out of that. Now, going back to Baker, I think he can have a serious chance of going to Carolina because there are some nice pieces there. They can change some things up. But the thing with Carolina is your former offensive coordinator is now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And if the owner of the Carolina Panthers thinks that we massively screwed up on Bryce Young, then the job is yours. So that's where like he needs to know from people that are higher up in that organization, if he were to come to Carolina, would he get the job? And things were kind of weird on his way out, but not in a bad way, to be honest, but in a way where I was like, it's just not working out. I'm going to go to LA and that's cool. But with him in Tampa, he had a really good season. He goes to Carolina. They can start to put some of those pieces into place. But again, you're still kind of in the same position you are in Tampa, where it's like Tampa just has kind of a better built franchise, just better structure, really good ownership. And Carolina is a disaster in ownership, to be honest. So I think if you're Baker, but it all comes down to him. Like, what does he know? What does he want? If you can get a multi-year deal in Tampa, and again, if that's the case, then they have to go all in to draft a Mike Evans prototype early in the draft. Then you stay in Tampa.
Yeah, I there's no absolute there's no way he's going to Carolina. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, they would have to give him a buttload of money.
They would.
Carolina, I'm pretty, from what I've heard, they're set on Bryce Young and they're gonna give him a go. They're just gonna start building pieces around him. He actually wasn't as bad as people think. He just had 0 wide receivers, 0 running backs. I mean, they traded away the best offensive player in the NFC was on the team and got basically nothing for it. They traded away their top pick to Chicago and they traded away their number 1 wide receiver to Chicago. Like,
they did everything wrong.
Yeah, what did people expect this guy to do? Be a superstar with like no one can name a wide receiver. Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard were horrible. Like, yeah, no,
But he definitely had chemistry with Adam Thielen.
yeah,
And I don't know how he did towards the end, but I think maybe DJ Shark is a nice option. But then again, I don't know. I mean that whole receiving core outside of Adam Thielen, who is definitely doesn't have many years left, they really got to overhaul that entire receiving core, plus
yeah,
the running back core. Plus, I don't know who their tight end is. It's bad, man. Like
right,
that entire offense is non-existent, and the defense got worse after losing Steve Wilkes.
yeah. And like Adam Thielen's, I mean, he was a solid number two in Minnesota.
Yep.
So like his ceiling is a number two. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong, he had a great season for like half the season,
Yep.
but he's like a number three in real life. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
And he dominates the slot, so it's really good there. It's good stuff, but that's man, that is it's a scary thing going on there in Carolina with that offense. But in a way, too, like if you're Kirk Cousins and you're looking at what you have in Minnesota, you could easily turn into what Carolina is now. So
Yeah,
I think if I'm Kirk Cousins, I leave and go straight to Atlanta because you have a banged up tight end, you have no running backs, and you have at least one banged up wide receiver. So like Minnesota could be running real scarce on offense going into this season. So I think that is the reason why Kirk Cousins lives in Minnesota but plays professional football for the Atlanta Falcons.
sure.
That's all I got.
Yeah,
That's really what I think it comes down to. I know Minnesota drafted I thought it was Hayden Hooker this past season as well.
yeah,
So like, okay, you drafted Hayden Hooker. Like, if you believe in the guy and you believe he's all that from Tennessee, this is a guy coming off a torn ACL. But then you gotta at least give him the reins at some point, knowing that he had a year to learn and a year to heal. Um, like I don't. That's what I'm looking at Minnesota. You're looking at a team too that is easily saying, "Hey, we have no quarterback. We have this really good looking defense, but we're starting to get some weird options on offense. What do we do moving forward?" Yeah, you're not gonna unload big money on Kirk Cousins because you have other pressing issues for sure.
all right. We've talked way too much about Kirk Cousins. He doesn't matter.
Exactly. We're done. All right. So
Let me run some free agent wide receivers, and you tell me if they go back to their team or if they
yes,
leave. All
sure.
right. Number one, T. Higgins.
T. Higgins stays.
Stay. Oh, you don't think he takes a big money deal and leaves?
I don't think he is good enough to really get a big money deal. And I think it's because of what he's been in the shadow with of Jamar Chase. Yet when Chase went down, T. Higgins stepped up. So I think you have that value there. Plus, like, you really got to give Joe Burrow some real security moving into this season. This is a guy coming off his own injuries, to be fair. I think Jamar Chase is really banged up as well. And Jamar Chase is getting double, if not triple coverage this season. So
I'm
T.
actually
Higgins is very valuable.
I think T. Higgins leaves. I think he
Okay.
gets his money. He's still young, and he gets to step out of that shadow. I mean, everyone always talks about how Cincinnati has multiple number one wide receivers, and I think a perfect place for him is like Carolina or New York Giants, something like that, where
Sure.
a quarterback needs some weapons, and you
Yeah.
bring in a T. Higgins. That's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think this comes down to Joe Burrow and, hey, are you willing to back off of some of your contract and make it so we can sign T. Higgins? Like, what do you want going forward? Because Joe Burrow is definitely losing leverage in this to an
Yeah.
extent. So I think it would be necessary to give T. Higgins that kind of value. Plus, and that would actually work both ways. It would work well for T. Higgins, It would also work well for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And then you can make a decision of, okay, Burrow is right. T. Higgins has played well. Now, for a second possible franchise tag, we'll either figure something out with him, or we're probably definitely going to cut bait at that point.
Yeah, that's fine. More rapid fire with this one
Exactly.
because, again, T. Higgins, cool, but Mike Evans, does he stay in Tampa or go?
He goes, and I'm pretty sure he goes to the Houston Texans.
Wow.
Yeah. And he played college at Texas A&M. I mean, he was dope there. Him and Johnny Manziel, they lit it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm completely opposite with this one too. I actually think he stays in Tampa. I think he takes kind of like a discount, getting a little older. They were pretty solid, made the playoffs, maybe touch up the defense, and I think they could be pretty good again. Michael Pittman Jr.
Oh, stay. Like I wouldn't even think about a franchise tag or anything. Like Indianapolis, that is a, if you're not going to the Texans, that is the next number 2 team I would probably want to go to for a wide receiver, because man, Anthony Richardson is coming, man, and Jonathan Taylor is there. They got some good receivers there. They get a big tight end. I think they'll be there. They get some things on defense. That was a team that was 1 game out from the playoffs. Man, I'm Michael Pittman. I stay in Indianapolis for sure.
Totally agree with you there. Next, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, so Calvin Ridley is gone, but it's not really kind of his choice. It's more so that the Jacksonville Jaguars do not want to give up a second round pick, and that's why. So if he stays, they forfeit their second round pick to Atlanta.
Oh,
Yes.
huh. That's
so
solid. I
yeah,
actually think he's gone
yeah.
because Jacksonville has too many weapons, like Christian Kirk.
The ball distribution was bad.
Yeah, exactly. You're with me. That's why I think one of those guys needs to just move along.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure going into this season, both you and myself, we were out on Calvin Ridley. A lot of fantasy hypesters were very, very high on Calvin Ridley, but for that exact reason is why I avoided him. I
Yep.
just thought there was way too much chemistry with Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram. And then there's running backs that know how to catch the ball down there. Like, it's insane. Like, do you really want to go into a fantasy football matchup with Calvin Ridley surrounded by 4 other weapons that are all legit?
Right. Next, Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown, that is interesting. I don't know exactly what Arizona's cap situation is, but you gotta know a little bit with what is going on with Kyler Murray. This is a team too that is 100% going to draft Marvin Harrison. So yeah, I think he stays. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I'm going to be honest with you. If he doesn't stay, I don't know where he'll end up. He could
That's
just.
what I thought.
The dude is kind of just. He hit a plateau where you thought he was the man.
His stock keeps going down.
Yeah, he might not be in the league very much longer. I don't know.
Yeah, because like his rookie year was really nice with Lamar Jackson, but after that, yikes.
Yeah. Next, this one's a little hit or miss. Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. This is the slot receiver for the Chicago Bears, correct?
Yeah, the guy was a number 1 for a while, and then all of a sudden he just kind of got overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not getting a franchise tag. The only way he stays to me is if the Chicago Bears, and again, I don't have legit sources on this, but I feel 100% we're going to see the Washington Commanders trade up to get Caleb Williams. And if I'm Chicago, I'm totally A-okay with that, because honestly, I think the best quarterback is clearly Drake May. And I think that would be perfect. And I think he matches up well with Tyson Bagent. So
Wait,
that's kind of where I think like they're going to go quarterback and then not have to get other receivers. But if they got other receivers, that would move them out. I think they stay with quarterback, and then you probably stay with Mooney.
You're off of Caleb Williams?
I think multiple teams are off of Caleb Williams, and Cliff Kingsbury going to Washington is signaling that they are clearly moving up to 1 to trade for Caleb Williams. So the Bears are easily moving back and acquiring capital. They're also obviously moving off of Justin Fields after today. So they're putting themselves in a great position to draft Drake May.
Wow. See, you know
And
what's crazy?
I think he's the best quarterback. Honestly, I think he's some hybrid of Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy's
I haven't
big.
got. I know you watched a lot of the was that Senior Bowl.
I have not. I have it recorded. I've seen some
Oh,
other tape on this Drake May. His throws are tighter and better than Caleb Williams throwing like wide open passes.
nice.
Yeah, this guy like maneuvers the pocket in a weird kind of Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes kind of way. And dude, he throws into tight windows, man, like really tight windows, and he's huge.
So this is the next big receiver, and I am so confused about this guy, but
Yeah,
I think he should stay just because he's
it
kind of
worked.
comfortable.
Yes.
But Gabe Davis of Buffalo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he absolutely stays. I think if I'm Buffalo, I move Stephon Diggs somehow, some way, and then I double this up because obviously this is the one team. The other team is the Baltimore Ravens. Why in the world neither of these teams have a big wide receiver target makes no sense. And I think both of these teams should actually make a play for Mike Evans.
Oh.
I think both
Now,
of them should.
speaking of Baltimore, what about Odell Beckham?
Oh, I'm actually hearing things that Baltimore is going to move off him.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that too because he didn't live up to the hype. Remember, he was holding out for big money and like
With
I
Baltimore?
you remember like in the offseason, he was looking for like a big contract. He thought he was gonna be a top guy again.
Wow, maybe I forgot that because I just clearly knew that it would never happen.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I think
I did hear though today that it came down between the Ravens and the Jets because Aaron Rodgers wanted Odell Beckham the year that
yeah.
the Rams went to the Super Bowl. So my guess is right now the only place that he can go to is the Jets. But again, this is where, and we talked a little bit about this before the show. This is where I think the Jets absolutely implode, and I think this kind of works in multiple facets because I think their head coach Robert Saleh is basically gearing up for the fact that he's about to get fired and then will basically be the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Whether that's this year or next season, I think you're going to see that the 49ers are going to be in a place where they're going to not be quite right on defense and they're going to want to get Robert Saleh ASAP. So this might be one of the weird seasons where what if a team trades for a head coach to get demoted? Like, I think that's a real possibility.
that seems weird.
It is
But
weird.
last but not least, back to Cincinnati, Tyler
Yep.
Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. So either him or T. Higgins will go. And I would probably get rid of Boyd. But again, I think this comes back to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has to have say in this. And that was one of the things that Aaron Rodgers was very critical of when he was a Packer, was not having as much say. And I think a lot of these teams moving forward are doing exactly what Aaron Rodgers pointed out. So it really comes down to Joe Burrow. This is how much money you make. What are you willing to give up? We have a Jamar Chase contract coming up. what are you willing to part with so we can keep 3 of these 4 guys happy and keep 3 of these 4 guys intact? That's what the Bengals are going to have to talk to Joe Burrow about.
I actually think both are going to leave.
Wow.
I don't think they can afford them. And Joe Burrow seems like a guy that is pretty big on himself.
He
So I
is.
don't see him like cutting money or cutting ties at all or taking a small contract. And if he does that, we've seen it with every other quarterback. Once you do that, you will lose your weapons. And then you kind of screw yourself over.
So I've been thinking about this, and I thought about that this season, and it happened because I did think that one of 3 teams, whether it was Cincinnati, Kansas City, or Buffalo, one of those 3 would miss the playoffs. Buffalo came close. Kansas City almost came close at the end, and Cincinnati definitely missed the playoffs. I think this might be the season where Cincinnati might be the worst team in that division. If those things happen, like you say, I think they're the worst team in that division.
Yeah.
And
we kind of said that. I mean, we thought Pittsburgh would be middle of the pack. We knew Baltimore. I mean, I had Baltimore in the Super Bowl, and they were
almost there.
Basically there.
Yep.
Like that division is tough.
It is.
Cleveland was pretty like that Cleveland defense was insane.
Yes.
If you get any production out of your quarterback besides Joe Flacco, you got another playoff team.
Yeah. Plus they lost Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb. They get both those quality players back. They love their 12 personnel down there. Boy, and not only that, I think if they figure out an upgrade at another wide receiver position, I honestly think Cleveland will win the division next season. That's how good they look.
I just typed Cincinnati's out.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man.
Do you want to do some rapid fire through some running backs, or should
let's do it
that for another show?
Boy, you know what? We got a good show for tonight, so I do like that. We will definitely save that next week because we are just getting into the early portions of the franchise tagging season of the NFL. So I love saving some more stuff moving forward because we will have more content, more news, more things happening in the coming weeks. So I think saving the running backs, and there are definitely 2 of them that are big names that we're looking at moving forward. So we will absolutely save those for next week.
I'm going to be honest with you. So the wide receivers, I was like, okay, whoa. And the quarterbacks, there wasn't very much going on there.
Yeah.
But the running backs, there's way more than 2 names on here where you're like, are you kidding me? They're free agents?
Yeah, there was a 3rd one I heard about today, possibly coming to my Raiders, that I was like, okay. I mean, I would prefer to not go that way, but regardless, my Raiders know how to operate with 3 running backs. So that's what it comes down to is, do we always have basically 3 running backs? It is what it is.
The top 4 are Studley.
Wow.
Not gonna lie.
I don't even know who the 4th one is, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's some great stuff there. So yeah, I think we got some good stuff. We got a good show for tonight. We got some teasers on the tea leaves for next week. So we'll spread that out and get you ready for next time. So for that, I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy
DJ Triggs.
And together we are No Debate Sports, and that is No Debate.